What's the most life-changing piece of advice you received as a teenager? Every single driver on the road is both a huge idiot who will do the dumbest possible thing at every opportunity and a vindictive psychopath who is actively trying to kill you. Never trust another driver's competency or intentions. Under any circumstances, he will slam on his brakes for no reason. He will put his blinker on and then not turn. He will swerve into you because he is scrolling Reddit while he drives. I drive a lot for work. I have avoided at least half a dozen accidents, a few of them likely fatal, by driving under these assumptions. If something is worth doing, it's worth doing half-assed. If you really don't want to go to the gym today, then go for a run. If you really don't want to run, go for a walk. It's worth half-assing your workout rather than not doing it at all. Exhausted at night and don't want to do your whole nighttime teeth routine, just give them a quick brush and skip the flossing. It's better than completely skipping everything, essentially. For things that are important, it's almost always better to do them part way than to not do them at all. My dad. It is better to be unaccompanied than badly accompanied. You can't have a great job, a great boyfriend, and a great apartment at the same time. Don't lend money to people in your life. Work out how much you can afford and gift it to them. My mum always asks, who are you comparing yourself to? Meaning that comparing yourself to others just creates pain and low self-esteem or envy. You should compare yourself to your own potential. Don't mix drinks, e.g. wine, with spirits. Education is never wasted. As a teenager, someone once told me, your future self is a direct result of the decisions you make today. At first, it seemed like straightforward advice, but the more I reflected on it, the more it became a guiding principle. It made me realize the importance of responsibility, accountability, and the impact of my choices on my long-term goals. It's a constant reminder that the small decisions I make now can shape the person I become and the life I lead in the future. It wasn't so much advice but consideration and discipline. I was just a silly teenager, and I grew up in a rough area. Easy to get into fights and get into petty crime. I had some adults be compassionate but firm, and at the time it scared me. But it stopped me from going too wild. I actually liked that sense of order and responsibility, especially when I looked at their lives versus the lives of the people I was hanging out with. It showed me healthy boundaries. I'm currently a teenager who has turned to God. A couple years ago, I had a deep conversation with an Orthodox monk and it felt like a fever dream. Opened my eyes and heart. Main theme I got from it was, if you knew how quickly people forget about you after you die, you would only think of what God thinks of you, and the judgment of people wouldn't cross your mind. Life is one big shit sandwich. You've got no choice but to eat it. However, you're allowed to add as much bread as you like. The more bread you add, the less shit you got to taste. To an angry 15-year-old chronic runaway, this made too much sense. It was my mantra for success until matured enough to reason through my own more positive analogues for life. My grandfather, who was a Choctaw Indian not allowed to get an education, told me that nobody could take away an education. He had worked hard to get where he was so his children, grandchildren could have one. I was the first in my father's family to get a college degree. I chose the medical field. You never stop learning ever. You can't control most of what happens in life, but you can control how you react. Set your sails accordingly. It's really helped me to focus on what I can control and not be bothered by things I can't control. Helps me to keep a relatively cool head when it comes to things like politics, sports, or interactions with other people. Step outside of your comfort zone. I'm only 19, but have done things I didn't imagine I would ever do because I forced myself to step outside my comfort zone, socially, emotionally, or whatever the case may be. Try to always be working towards something or have goals to give yourself that motivation to get out of bed in the morning. Ants coming up to me at the end of some year in high school and telling me, you have so much potential. You could do so much more if you just applied yourself, in a somewhat pleading and obvious tone. They were right. When you had asthma, we got you an inhaler. Let's just figure out what you need now. My mum, when she was called to the school after my friend reported me for mental health issues, she was blindsided, but her immediate non-judgment meant a lot more perspective than advice. But still, you keep saying, oh, I'd be this and that if I only tried hard. Stop saying it and just fucking try hard. From my high school academic rival good friend now. And she was better at me at everything after I bitched for the upteenth time. I don't think I've taken it easy since. Oh, me by my dad's friend a couple of days after my 20th birthday, when I ran away to go see my dad several states away, and ended up in psychiatric care facility due to my impulsive and reckless behavior. Everything is permitted, except getting caught. I was a very law-abiding person, and this helped understand how people could act like they did, just because there wasn't anyone looking or any authority surveying. Some people are just animals gifted with malice. It feels kind of cringe now, but when I was a teen, this quote I read by a great old racing driver Fangio, a Babe Ruth, Otto Graham type, made a big impression on me. You must always strive to be the best, but you must never believe that you are. Work towards getting enough savings to pay for 6 months of rent. Don't remember where I heard it, but I started putting money into savings every week as soon as I got a steady income. The breathing room is very nice to have. Everything and anything that one is doing and in harming others is allowed. Don't bother others. Don't feel bothered for what they say about you. Wasn't meant as an advice, but I took it like that from my mother. No matter what it costs, keep your driving record and regular record clean. Hire the attorneys and fight the tickets. Had friends lose jobs and not get work because of a bad record. Also cheaper on insurance. Terence McKenna would change your life, kid. Jordan Peterson changed it more in my young 20s. And I'm trans, so it's a little bizarre for me to name drop him. But he was a great professor until 2017. Hard choices, easy life. Easy choices, hard life. You need to challenge yourself and go beyond your comfort zone to get what you want. Complacency will just lead to dissatisfaction with your life. They won't remember you in 5 minutes. Just say what you want was instrumental in getting over my crippling fear of talking to strangers, specifically service workers at restaurants and the like. Pulling out is not pregnancy protection. Hundreds of thousands of enthusiastic, microscopic swimmers are deposited whether or not the male ejaculates, and it only takes one. Don't buy it. Tell the truth and do the right thing, and you can't go wrong in life. Now, didn't always do that, but it impacted me. I remembered it my whole life, and it shaped my early 20s. Being able to make decisions is what separates the men from the boys. It's shocking how many grown-ass, educated adults get analysis paralysis, make a decision, move on. A random article post on the 7 rules for understand people. Here's the link. Don't ever refinance or consolidate federal student loans. Dad, government protections for those loans that you would lose. Okay, Dad. Sure. Then COVID happened. Specialize in a field. Don't be a jack of all trades. No one is looking for someone who can do everything. They want someone who can do 1 or 2 things really well. Always trust your instincts and never underestimate the power of perseverance. It's amazing how far determination can take you, even in the face of challenges. My CSGO teammate suggested to commit suicide. Whether that was an insult or a genuine suggestion I can't say, but it would certainly change your life. It's possible to make no mistakes and still lose. That is not weakness, that is life. Captain Jean-Luc Picard, dropping some hard life lessons. Literally nothing. I received loads of terrible advice through those years. If anything, it was assume humans are too stupid to bother listening to. The world need ditch diggers to Danny and N52, so most of my advice was received through 80s movies. Ironically, I own a construction company. 1. Be the change you want to see in the world. 2. Speak to someone as if they would die tomorrow, and not live with regret of something left unsaid. Don't worry about the important things now. Enjoy being a teenager. Don't grow up too fast BC before you know it. You're in your late 30s. Nobody cares about what you do half as much as you think. They're too preoccupied thinking about what other people think about them. Co-workers are not your friends. They're not looking out for your best interest. Keep your personal and professional lives separate. No one will put in the work for you to have a good life. You've just got to do it yourself, or else it won't get done at all. A funny thing about regret is that it's better to regret something you have done than to regret something you haven't done. Don't ever let your kindness wither away. Our school cafeteria supervisor told me. I worked with them for over 5 years. From learning about what happened to the valedictorian from the class before me. Don't throw aerosol cans into bonfires. Don't stare at the ground when you walk. Hold your head high, but not too high. You don't want to trip over something. Not to get into an LTR too young. Hated it at the time. Understand it now. No teenager needs a serious relationship. This job is not suitable for you. You should look for a creative-oriented job. This is advice from my old boss. My father used to say me that do not worry, you will learn all that gradually. We should be consistent always. Don't worry about the little things. And in the greater scheme of the universe, everything is a little thing. You're doing a great thing to help people. That's a good thing. So keep doing it. Very roughly paraphrased. Try to understand things on your own. Research and learn new things that will benefit you when you grow up. How your friends act says a lot about you. You can't change your friends, but you can change your friends. Open a savings account and budget. I did neither, and I still struggle with budgeting as a 40-year-old. Don't do drugs, because if you do drugs, you'll go to prison. And drugs are really expensive in prison. Stop taking things personally. Chances are the way someone treats you is about them, not you. You've got to be smart about doing stupid shit. Still think about that, and I'm in my late 30s. I don't think they gave 90s teens advice, other than don't die or go to jail, in that order.